And welcome back to Using the XPages Data View Control, a video blog series at pauldn.com. Part 2, Saving View State and Other Cool Pager Controls. We cover the data view in our Rapid XPages Development course, and this chart is showing us some of the prerequisites for that course. So you know JavaScript, and we covered JavaScript in our JavaScript for XPages Development course, and we cover both flavors, client-side and server-side JavaScript. You know the basics of XPages development, which we cover in our XPages Development 1 course, and you're ready for the advanced UI techniques that we cover in our Rapid XPages Development course, like the data view control. This slide is showing us the lessons view from our Rapid XPages Development course. We cover the data view in Module 5. In the last part in this video blog series, I covered the data view design framework, and in this part, I'm going to focus on the new pagers that are available to the data view. Once again, the demonstrations for this video blog are coming from our Rapid XPages Development course. So if you have that course, you can follow along with the demonstrations, the lessons, the activity databases that come along with that course. If you don't, you can always get our free Introduction to XPages Development course from tlcc.com, and that comes with a customers and parts and sales database, and you can use the views and documents within those databases as the data sources to follow along with what I'm going to show you today. So first off, this is our first demonstration, and this pager is the Show Details pager, so we can use it to show all of the details, and that expands all the details or hide all the details. And we have a Show Details pager in both the top and in the bottom here. This one has some alternate text or some custom text, show me all the details or spare me the details, but works the same way. And let's see how that was done. So here in Designer, this is the 522 X page that we just saw, the 522 View X page, and all of these demonstrations have a view and an input page to show the document when you select the document from the data view. So we can see on this View X page, we can see a data view control, and in the pager top left, we see a Hide Details pager, or a pager Show Hide Details pager, and not a lot to that one. I mean, it has an ID, but if I scroll through the properties, nothing else is set. So that was simply added into the pager top left area. For this one here, which had some different text, we see a few more properties that have been set. One is the For property. So the For property, and in this case for data view 1, which is the ID of my data view control, that is necessary when your pager is outside of the facets, outside of the containment of the control that it's providing its paging for. So in this case, it's providing the paging for the data view 1 control, and it is defined within the facets, within one of them, the pager top left facet for that data view control. So it really isn't necessary to provide a for. I could clear that, and it would work just fine. It's only when you add this type of pager to another iterator control and it's outside of the facets where you would need to specify the for property. So here I can see the hide text, spare me the details, and this property here, the show text. So you can provide your own custom text for that pager. In terms of adding it, let's delete it from the top left. We can see that these pages are in the extension library folder, and that's where you find your data view control. And if I scroll down in here, I see all of my pagers. Okay, and there's the pager Show Hide Details. I can see my other pages that we're going to be covering today. And to add it, simply drag it into the facet area. Since I put it within the containment of my data view 1 control, it's not necessary to specify the for property. That's all I need to do to make that pager work. Okay, next one. Okay, so this one here uses the sizes pager, and once again, 2 are defined here. Okay, so 1 is defined at the top. So we see in the top left a pager sizes with no additional properties set. Okay, we can scroll through that. There's nothing else set. This one here has some customization. Once again, the unnecessary setting of the for property. We can see that here. But we also see that there's some different text here and some different sizes that are available, some custom sizes. So let's demonstrate this and see what it looks like. So here is the default sizer control with this default text show, and then 10, 25, 50, and all are the choices for the amount of documents to show per page or items per page in this, as the text indicates. And here's some custom text. Choose to show 5. Okay, so the addition of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 customers. Okay, no all option here in this case here. So let's go back to Designer to see how that was done. So in this case here, for the default settings, okay, that was simply dragging this control, pager sizes, into the top left facet, and that's it. Okay. Now, to get one of these defaults to show 10 or 25 or 50, the one consideration here is what's your number of rows to show within your data view control. So that particular setting is in the rows property for your data view control, and the default is 30. So, which is not one of the default options here. So, unless you align this, unless we set this to 25 or 10 or 50, there's not going to be a default choice within your show sizers control. Now, for this one here, a couple of things here. One is you can provide an alternate set of sizes within the sizes property, and you just separate those with a pipe symbol. So in this case, 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25. And since the number of rows displayed in my data view control is 10, there is going to be an alignment. This default choice will automatically show as selected. And then to provide some alternate text or some custom text for those sizes, you simply write in the text into this text property, and you use this argument 0, to indicate where you want the sizes displayed within that text. Okay, next demonstration here, and let's just preview that. So this is using the show more control or pager control to add some additional rows. Okay, so we can just show more and just keep adding rows. And there's a second one here, show 13 more customers. So there's no addition to claw back. Okay, you can't show less customers. It's simply adding or appending a number of rows within your data view control. Okay, so that was done with the pager add rows control. Once again, available in your extension library controls. And it's this one here. And I'm just going to delete that default one with all the default settings and add it back. And that's all that's necessary to use that. Now, typically you would put these in one of the bottom facets, like pager bottom left, where they can click on that. When they get to the end of the number of rows that are displayed, they can click on that and show some more. Let's see the properties that have been set for this one here. A little bit of customization. Once again, the unnecessary setting of the for property. And a little further down, the row count. Now, if you do not specify the row count, which is the number of additional rows that are going to be added, if you do not specify that, then it's going to use the setting within the data view control, the rows setting within the data view control. So the default for that would be 30, and when you click on the show more, it's going to show 30 more rows. Okay, and then an option to specify some alternate text or some custom text within the text property. Okay, last demonstration here is to collapse and expand the categories. And let's first preview that. Once again, consistent with the other demos, we can see two of these, one in the top left and one in the bottom left pager facet. And this one is just the default one, just added there, and we can collapse all or expand all. And These are, if you will, hot in terms of if the user expands or collapse some of these, both of these are now available because we have both options. They can either collapse or expand all. And in the bottom here, same functionality, just with some customized text. So here in Designer, for this demonstration, that's the default setting. It was just added into the pager top left facet. And for this one here, a couple of custom settings within text. So the collapse text, you can specify the expand text, and once again, the unnecessary setting of that for property, unnecessary because it's already defined within the context of the data view 1 control. Okay, of all of the new pager controls, my favorite of these is the pager save state control, which allows you to save the state of your view so that when you return to your view from the open document, it's going to be in the same state that you left it in. So first off, let me show you on an X page where we're not using this control. So I'm just going to refresh or reload this 525 X page, the one with the collapse all and the expand all. Okay, so in its initial load state, everything is expanded. And I'm going to, on this page 1, I'm going to collapse some of these subcategories within the East category. Then I'm going to go to page 3, and I'm going to use these chevrons on the right to expand some of the details for these. And then I'm going to open up this Miami Beach Golf page, or Miami Beach Golf customer document on page 3. And when I return to the view, it effectively reloads the page. I'm back on page 1, and all of my categories and subcategories are expanded. So this is a X page in the absence of a pager save state control. Now let me show you one that has one. So here in the 526 X page, we can see we have a pager save state control added to this data view control. And if I scroll down a little further in this X page, I see another one of these. Let's save disk. And this one here is for view panel 1. And I have a core view panel control. Its ID is view panel 1, and I can see that for this pager save state control in its properties, the for property must be set. Okay, it is defined outside of the containment of that view panel 1 control. So that's where I do need the for property to indicate that it's for that particular control. So let's see this one in action. Okay, so up here at the top with my data view control, I can collapse some of these on page 1, maybe go to page 4, and I will expand a couple of these chevrons here at the top. And I'm going to open up this Red Lake Golf Course. And here in the document, there is a control to return to the view, other controls to stay in the document, edit the document, but I'm going to simply return to the view, and my state is preserved in that view. I'm back on page 4. A few of these at the top have their details expanded. If I go to page 1, I can see a preservation of the state of that page as well, with all of these subcategories collapsed within that East category. If I scroll down on this page, I can see same data source. Okay, so this is coming from the same customer's application, same view where it's showing categorization first by region and then by type. So this one also has a pager save state control. So similarly, well, let me just collapse everything in the East. And then I'll go to page 5. And I will, well, maybe I went a little too far. Let's go to page 4. And I'm going to open up this Sunset Golf and Country document on page 4. And when I return to the view, I need to scroll down to see that view panel control, but I can see that I am still on page 4. And on page 1, I can see all of these subcategories. Everything is collapsed within that East main category. So how is that done? Now it's a little bit more work than what we saw earlier. So in addition to adding a pager save state control to your page with your data view control, there's some work to be done on your input page or your document page so that you can restore the state of your view before you return to it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. But first, a quick word from our sponsor.
You know, TLCC is the leader in Notes, Domino, and XPages training. But did you also know they can help you with your development projects as well? TLCC provides mentoring, development, and consulting services for projects big and small. All services are delivered by Howard Greenberg and Paul Della-Nebbia, so you know you're always getting a skilled and seasoned professional. Imagine how much more productive you and your development team could be with Howard and Paul available to help you get over your current development hurdle, or add Howard and Paul to your team to speed the delivery of your critical XPages application. Dad, I'm not doing this part.
Oh, go ahead. I'm probably going to cut it.
Fine. Okay. Got a development challenge, big or small? Don't despair, call Howard or Paul. TLCC. I'm not doing that one again.
And we're back. So as I indicated, before that shameless plug, it is a two-step process to save and restore the state of a view. So on your view page, you're going to add a pager save state control. And on your document page or your input page, whatever you want to call it, wherever you're going to provide navigation back to your view page, you want to add these two lines of code. View state being restore state equals true to restore the state of that view, and return XSP success to return to that particular view. Now that doesn't quite seem obvious how we get, from this statement here to this particular view. So I'll show you that in Designer. So here in Designer, I have my 2X pages open here. I have my 526 view page and my 526 input page. That's the page to display the document. And here on my view page, in my data view control, I've got a pager save state, and that's the step one. And I'm going to repeat that step one, so I just deleted that from pager bottom. I can put this anywhere. So I'll find that in my extension library controls, and here it is. And let me put it here, pager bottom right. Okay, so that's step one in the process. That's all you need to do on your view page. Add a pager save state control. Automatically, Domino will save up to 5 view states for up to 5 open views for each user session. So that's all we have to do on the view pages. Now, on the input page, wherever you're going to provide navigation back, and here we have a toolbar control, and if I take a look at its on item click event, I see these two lines of code. View state being restored state equals true to restore the state of the view, and then return XSP success to return to that demo XPage 526 view XPage. Now, how we get from this to that, let's focus on that. So if I go into my XPage properties, and this is where you set that. So your next page success or cancel. So if you were to add a cancel button and the user clicks on that, this is the page to go to, Demo XPage 526 view. Or if you added a submit button, user made some changes, user created a new customer document, and they hit all the validation points, so they put in all the required fields and any numeric validation, whatever validation you add to the X page. When they hit that submit button, if validation passes, then that is the success case. So in both those cases, success or cancel, we're going to go to this page. Now, this is repeated here. So in the X page navigation properties, we see this navigation rule. XSP success, whenever that is returned, in the case of hitting that cancel button or the success with a successful validation, we go to this page, Demo XPage 526 view. So that's how we do it. Actually, let's take a look at that in the source. If I scroll down into the source, these are typically added at the bottom of the source, and here I see my navigation rules, and there's just the one here right now. So that was the one that was added. So whenever XSP success is returned, go to that page. And if you wanted to, you could add another rule. So I could add another rule here. So if home is returned in any server-side JavaScript, in that case, I want to go to, let's go to the home page. Okay, so that's how you add a navigation rule. So let's return here, and we can see that's why we return to XSP success. Okay, so restore the state of the bean and return XSP success. So I'm going to create a second control to do effectively the same thing. Let me just add a core button control. This might be a little bit more familiar. Control, and I'll provide a label. Simply back on the label, and I'm going to code its on-click event with server-side JavaScript, and the code is view state bean dot, case is important here, restore state. Spelling is important too. View state bean restored state equals true. And the second statement is to return, specify where you want to go. So specify that navigation rule, XSP success. Okay. The page that we specified on successful, on cancel or a successful success. And that is once again misspelled. Let's try it again. And then we'll save that. And let's try that out. So I'll preview that again. And I'll actually start it from the view. And here we are. Let me reload this page. And again, we're going to collapse some of these categories in the east. Go to page 3, expand. Some of these I'm going to go into this Miami Beach Golf. And I can see my return to view. I can also see my back button that I just coded. And when I click back, it returns to XSP success, the demo X page 526 view X page. And my view state is returned. I'm here on page 3, and on page 1 I can see the same collapse of categories in the east as I had earlier. That concludes this part 2 in our X Pages data view control series. In this part, we took a look at the various pager controls. The most notable of these is the pager save state control. Lots of applications for that one, but the other one's also useful. So you want to bring those in as a into your application to provide a nice paging interface in the application. In the next part, we're going to take a look at adding categorized views to your data view controls, and we'll also take a look at one of the topics in this other techniques, adding icon columns to your data view controls. So until then, so long for now.